This lesson is why you see free empty even for certain self-improvement by adding keyword like. So the link to the video will be the description below. Go and check them out. So let's into this reaction in 3, 2, 1.
A few days ago, I remember driving home from my job. I was
Yeah.
speeding on the way back because I wanted to get home as
Bueno.
fast as I possibly could.
Yeah.
I was super tired. I was exhausted. My feet hurt really
Yeah. I
bad
did that.
from
Yeah.
standing the entire day. And it was one of those days where nothing really went right for me. I had so many things come up and I was exhausted. So
Yeah.
as soon as I got home, I remember I went straight to my room and I just wanted to sit down. I just wanted to sit down and relax for a second because I had so many things throughout the day. And I remember looking at my desk and I had this little sticky note sitting on my desk. And I look at it and it's a to-do list. And I have a to-do list written out every single day of my life. And I
Yeah.
remember looking at it and there's a lot of stuff on it. And there are some things on that list that I had to do. There's some things that I had to do before I got to bed. And I remember looking at it and I thought, man, I don't want to do anything right now. Like this sucks. I'm as tired as I've ever been in my life. So I crumpled up the note and I just threw it across my room. And I was thinking of other things to do at that moment
Yeah.
because I did not want to do anything productive. I felt like I had no willpower and no discipline. So I just sit there and I think for a second, like what's something else I could do, you know? I have a few hours left in the day and like what's something else I could do? And I felt super lost. I felt really unhappy, dissatisfied. I couldn't find anything I wanted to do. I was really bored. And that's different for me. Most of the time, I'm not bored. I'm always doing stuff, constantly. I have a to-do list every single day, and I'm constantly just working. So this is new for me. For some
Yeah.
reason, I don't know why I feel so empty. I have no idea why. You know, I even considered at that moment playing video games. I tried to think of
Video
like
game.
some kind of video game that I could play, and I haven't played video games in like 2 years at that
Wow.
time. So I was really bored, really
Yeah.
unhappy. And later, I found out the problem. I
Yeah.
realized that I forgot my goals. I forgot my direction. I forgot why I was working in the first place. I forgot what I
Wow.
was
Really.
working towards. And the reason that
Yeah.
happened was because I stopped forcefully reminding myself. I used to remind myself every single night and every single morning of my goals, of my goal
Yeah.
page. I used to look at it all the time and I'd forcefully try to make myself think about it. But I stopped doing that. And after I stopped doing that, that's when I started to become lost because I forgot what I was doing, you know, with the direction that I was going in. And that might be the biggest reason why you feel lost right now. You know, you might be on
Yeah.
self-improvement. You might be doing all the right things. Like you may be working really hard.
Yeah.
You know, everything might be going well, but for some reason you feel unhappy. You feel dissatisfied. You feel really bored, you know, like nothing's going on in your life. You don't feel excited about anything. And the reason that's happening is because you lost touch with your goals. You forgot about them. You forgot about the direction that you're going in. You know, humans are goal-seeking creatures. We always have to have some kind of goal to work towards. You know, we always have to
Yeah.
have some kind of direction in mind and then work towards it to get to it. And if you don't have anything in mind currently, then you're going to feel lost. So it's important that you touch back to your goals, whatever you were
Yeah.
working on in the first place. And it's also important to have
Yeah. You should always go back to working on your goals. Yeah. To that. Yeah.
the right goals set in mind.
Yeah.
Your goals should make you happy. They should make you excited. You
Yeah.
know, it shouldn't be something that you don't really care about, right? That would be a stupid goal to set. You want to have a goal that like you actually care about, you know. You actually like.
Yeah. My goal is I really care about fan fictions. My goal is to make more fan fictions. Yeah, that's my goal. My goal is to come up with more fan fictions. Yeah, that's my goal. Yeah.
Like. and
Yeah.
it should make you excited, and it also should be really specific. Your goals can't be general because they don't mean anything. You know, you can just tell yourself that you want to improve, but what does
Yeah.
that actually mean? You know, it has to be very specific, and it also should be something that you like as well.
Yeah.
That's why it should make you happy. That's why it would make you excited. And that's why it'd bring so much joy into your life if you were
Yeah.
working towards a goal that you actually liked, opposed to something that you don't care about. And the next most important thing that you have after you've set a goal is some kind of system in mind that reminds you of it. See, it doesn't really matter if you have a goal if you don't remember it. You know, you have to
Yeah.
constantly remind yourself. You have to have some kind of system in place. Because
Yeah.
if you don't, you're going to forget about it and then you're going to feel
Yeah.
empty again. You're going to feel lost again. You're going to feel like you have no direction. So that's why it's important that you
True.
have something
Yeah.
in place that constantly reminds you of it. Your goal is
Yeah.
not always going to be automatic. It's not always going to be automatic in your brain. That's why you have to manually force it into your brain. You have to manually force yourself to think about it
Yeah.
and to keep your focus on it. That's what you have to do so you don't feel lost. And that's why it's very important that you
Yeah.
have your eye on the goal. You have your eye on the destination. You know, if you're driving somewhere, you always have to have the destination in your mind because if you forget about it and you keep driving, you're just going to go around in circles or nowhere at all. You know, you're going to end up in a completely random place and you're going to feel lost, like you don't know where
Yeah.
you're at. And that's what happens in real life. So that's why you always have the destination in mind at all times. And going back to my story at the beginning, I remember when I lost direction, I got a lot less discipline. I stopped working so hard. And that led to me doing a lot of things that I usually don't do by accident. Like, I would consume a lot more content on social media than I ever would. And I just let that time slip by. So I'd spend
Yeah.
hours just doing that, and that made me really unhappy. You know, that made me lose so much time. And that was another reason that made me feel so upset and unhappy all the time was social media. You know, social media is made to absolutely mess you up. It is made to keep you addicted, unhappy, and distracted. That is the sole purpose of social media. It's to mess you up. And that's why if you consume a lot of it, if you consume a lot of content, it's going to make you unhappy. It's going to
Wow,
make you
man.
feel empty at the end of the
Yeah.
day because it just drains you of your soul. You know, after you
Yeah.
consume a lot of social media, you feel like you feel terrible after it. It makes you so unhappy because it plays with your emotions and you just feel
True.
drained after that. And after I realized that I was
Mainly
spending a lot of
YouTube. Yeah.
time on social
Yeah.
media, consuming way too much, I stopped. I went on a strict dopamine detox
For me, it's mainly YouTube. Yeah. I watch too much YouTube. Yeah.
and I cut all that stuff out. And
Yeah.
that's all it took. It was those two things. It was cutting out social media, which led to me feeling a lot better. And then it
Oh.
was reigniting that fire, my direction. It was getting my direction back and reminding myself of my goals again because I forgot. And I felt a lot different after a few days. After I just started doing those two things, I felt so much more happier. I have my direction again.
Heavy, heavy.
I feel a lot more excited now because of my goals. I know what I'm working towards, and I feel a lot happier. And that's all it takes. And I want you to remember without direction, you're completely lost. All right, my brother. I'll see you in the next one, bro. Peace.
Peace. Wow. Wow. That was what you see pre-MD even upper certain self-improvement by adding keyboard. The link to the video will be the description below. Go and check them out. So drop a like if you like, and comment below if you want to see more reaction like this one. And subscribe if you're new, and click the bell so you can be notified. Notified from the blog in my bye. Wow.